everyone, it's Lisa from K9 Clips, Dog Grooming Tips. This here is Harley. She is a Biewer Terrier and she is coming for her full groom. I'm going to be doing a longer cut on her and I'm going to be showing you how I do that without any restraints. I welcome any questions if you have any and any comments, of course. So please let me know what you think. So I'm going to be using a 3 3/4, which is also 13 millimeters. So a little bit longer. I'm just going to kind of clean her up today. She is quite a shy girl, as you can see. So she doesn't give me much resistance at this point. When she first started coming, she was a mover and a shaker. But now she's just really shy and tolerates what she has to get done. As you can see, this isn't taking off too much, but it does, it will clean her up quite a bit. Good girl. When I'm using the clippers, I am kind of laying them flat on the body. Oh, I just got to pause as I have someone picking up. I'll be right back. Okay, and we are all back. So as I was saying, I kind of lay the clippers down so they're flat on the back. If you wanted to keep a little bit more length, you can kind of tilt it on an angle. You can see she's a bit shy, so sometimes you have to help stand them up a little bit, as it does help with the trimming. With the legs, I like to kind of pull the hair out as I'm going with the clippers there. Come on. Because in these hard to reach areas, hard to get in there with the clippers. Alrighty. And on the inside, I do a little bit of an upward motion just to get that hair. Yeah, quite funny. And I do pull the hair down as well under the belly, just so that it grabs with the clippers. There we go. Go right behind the ears. It's good to fold that ear over. Otherwise you may catch some of the ear skin because it's very sensitive and thin, so it can easily get caught in the clippers. And then when I do trim the face, I do go right behind the eye. And right to the ear there and go straight down. When you're first starting out, just go slow and steady. Because most likely your dog won't stay nice and still like Harley here. I do have some more videos on my channel of difficult doggy grooms or puppies' first grooms. She's on there too, way back when she first started. She was one of my more difficult dogs to groom. But it's a learning process for both you and your dog, so you'll both get more comfortable with it as you keep doing it. Good girl. There you go. Good girl. Sometimes if they like to lay down a lot, if you hold one of their legs up, it'll kind of get them to stand. Doesn't work all the time, but it is a trick I learned. It's always funny. Each dog is a little bit different, so what may work on one dog may not work on the next one, so it's all a learning process. That's a good girl. Good girl. Okay. Now that we got the body done there, and this is a quick run because I usually just do the body quick like that, and then I'll give her a bath, and then I'll come back and trim it all once again to get a cleaner look. Okay. So now I'm going to get started on the face, and I'll pluck those ears as well. She's got a little bit of hair in there, but the Biewer Yorkies don't have too much in their ears. But it's good to keep it plucked out and clean. You can see there's a little bit of redness in there. So once you pluck all that hair out, there's nothing for that wax to stick to, and their ears will actually become a lighter pink, and that's a nice healthy ear. All right, so I'm going to get started with the face here. So I've always preferred scissors. Some people, you can use clippers as well to get right inside there. But I found that more dogs are a little bit more comfortable with the scissors. So again, I do have some videos on my channel that are of dogs that are a little bit more difficult and fidgety. So in those instances, I have to use different holding techniques for them. But because I don't use restraints, And when I'm holding the dog, I'm able to tell when they're going to move on me, so I can react accordingly. She's kind of sliding down here, so I'm just going to let her. Okay, now you're going to stand. All right, down again. That's a good girl. She's just staying really good for me here. I'm going to change my scissors out because they're not very sharp, so it is good to have a good sharp pair of scissors, because if they're dull, you're just ending up trying to cut the same area several times. Because I'm keeping the body long, I'm not going to trim the face too short either. I do like to keep right beside the ear, or right beside the eyes, the tear ducts there, quite a bit closer and cleaner. Because if they are going to tear, that's where it's most likely to stain. I like to keep that area a little cleaner. There we go. And when I am trimming the face, rather than going straight across, I am going up and down. So at the very bottom you can go straight across, but here you kind of want to create a more layered look. And in order to do that, you have to go up and down. If you do go side to side, you'll get some lines, which you can get out, but you'll have to cut it or trim it shorter. That's a good girl. Okay, let's trim around this ear as well. I'm going to turn her so you can see the ear a little bit better. So what I use for the ears here is I use some tweezers as well. But first I like to trim all that hair away. And then I just use the tweezers to grab the hair. You just want to make sure you grab the hair from inside the ear canal only. That's why I like to trim that other hair away. First, so I don't accidentally pluck that hair. It'll give you a lot more resistance. Good girl. There we go. So still quite a bit in there. There we go. So it's nice and clean, as you can see. So the ear canal will eventually get to that color there, instead of the pink that's kind of in there. So that is nice and healthy when it's that color. trim the top of the head a little bit here. Are you going to stay up or are you going to go down? And for the top of the head, I like for it to be quite natural, so I kind of just fluff it up. And again, you scissor straight back. You don't want to go sideways on the head. It's all about following the natural laying of the hair. This creates the layered look. If you go this way, you'll actually create lines. So, and then after the bath, I'll come back again. Because after you blow dry, it's going to lay down and kind of fall forward a bit more. And then I'll trim that hair. But I want more of the natural look, so that's how I create that look. Okay, so you can see the hair sticking out there. Good girl. Just a little bit at a time. Okay, there we go. Good girl. Okay. That's good. So now I'm going to start on the paws and nails. I'll get those paws done here and then trim up those nails. I like to use scissors for this as well. You can use clippers as well. Usually it would be a number 30 blade. And you can get smaller clippers to fit inside these little paws. But in my experience, I prefer the scissors because the dogs seem to be a little bit calmer without the clippers in there. But each dog is a little bit different, so you can, if you're trying on your own dog, some dogs actually don't mind it either. So it's really what you prefer and are most comfortable with, and your dog, of course. I'm just going in there in between the paws. Right now I'm just trimming off the top, and then I kind of use my finger to dig in there. There we go, good girl. I'm getting tired there. Using my fingers there to kind of move her face away from the scissors. Okay, I'm just going to trim those nails up. And she does have a dew claw. We'll do that first to kind of bring it out. And just as where the nail kind of goes on an angle and thins out a bit, that's where I like to cut, and kind of straight across from the pad. So I do push it down from the top with my other thumb. There we go. Good girl. I'll just shimmy you around here. So nice when the dogs stay so nice. Okay, good girl. There we go. These smaller guys, sometimes it's hard to get the clippers around these little joints. So sometimes you end up using the scissors. There we go. Okay, halfway done. Okay, up. That's a good girl. Get her tail tucked in there. Good girl. Okay. You're gonna stay up for now. Move you away a little bit. There you go. Good girl. A new claw there as well. Ooh. Oh, hey, Penny. Ooh. There you go. That's a good girl. Good girl. And I'm going to come back and trim in there with the clippers. This is a work in progress. Again, so I push down with the top finger and kind of expose a little bit more. And then I'm trying to go across from the pad, but where it kind of goes on an angle there, so you can cut that whole angle off, that little triangle. You have to zoom in for that. That's a nice healthy length. If you're not quite sure, you just take a little bit off at a time, like a really tiny bit. And for this one here, just take the tip, and then you can come back in a week and do it again. And that will still help your dog and help keep those nails nice and healthy. All right, we're on the last paw now. Okay, good girl. Here, I'm going to move you just a little bit. Good girl. It doesn't have any mats in there, so that's nice. Sometimes if they do have mats, you gotta kind of do a little bit at a time just to loosen it out of there. Alright, so again, push the nail down. You can see where it kind of goes on an angle there. I'm going to cut that triangle off. And I can even cut more, but if you're just starting out, you just cut that little bit off. Let's see if I can bring the camera over top to show that. Okay, so there's the angle across there. There we go. There is the nails in the paws. And still a very shy girl. It's a good girl. Okay, so I'm going to continue using the clippers here around the bum area. I'll comb out this tail. A little bit matted. That's where the thinning shears really help out. So if you have some resistance from mats, it's good to use thinning shears so that you can still keep that length. And comb that through still. So it'll still take out quite a bit. Trim up there. Another good chunk. And here we go. Hold on. Okay, so in this bum area, I usually like to go quite a bit shorter. I don't want to shave it just because I'm keeping the body a little bit longer. So I'm going to use a number 7 in this area. This girl's in heat. That's why her girly parts are a little bit swollen and there's a bleeding. It's all natural and healthy. All right, there we go. I'm just going to comb out these ears. We're leaving the ears grow out, so I won't be trimming them. Okay, and we are all ready for the bath. Let's put this all away. I can tell it. Good girl. I'm quite used to this process now. That's a good girl. There you go. Good girl. Okay. Okay, good girl. He's very sweet. Hey, up. That's a good girl. Good girl. All right, I'll get it blow dried up here. you may have noticed that when I'm blow drying, I like to cover the ear with my thumb or the finger, so when I'm blow drying it, the air doesn't go directly into the ear canal. As well as when you're bathing, the same rule applies. You kind of want to cover those ears up, just so water doesn't go directly in as well. All right. I'm going to use a 3 3/4 again. So as you can see, it still takes off quite a bit, even though I just used it at the beginning. It really fluffs up the hair with the bath and blow dry. Sometimes you do have to pull the skin a little bit, because the hair does grow in different directions. And I do keep looking at the camera because I want to make sure you guys are getting a good view. So that's why I keep staring your way. Because if I don't, I get kind of focused on the dog and then I forget to see where the camera's pointed. And you guys end up looking at my elbow or something. There we go. Yeah, so it still takes off quite a bit from what she had, but it's still a nice, needs quite a bit of fur on her as well. Give her a little bit of curl. Okay. Come on now. Up, up. Alright, so I'll just finish up kind of with the scissors. Because as I was saying, sometimes the clippers can't get everywhere because of just the tiny girl. So you end up having to go back kind of trimming some areas that may have gotten missed. Here, for instance, kind of just like to go straight up and down. Watch the ears. Okay, good girl. just check her head there so you can see it's kind of parted, but it's longer on each side. I'm just going to kind of layer that a little bit more. There we go. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed Harley's groom today. She was a beautiful girl. Well behaved, little shy, but very sweet. I'm going to put some ear solution in both her ears. There's no wax in there, so this is more to dry out any wax that may be down in there, or dry out any water that may have gotten in there as well. Because you do want to keep those ears nice and dry. And if there is any wax in there, that'll help dry it out. So when she does shake her ears or scratch her ears, that'll help dislodge it. Okay, and then we'll just brush your teeth. And then we'll be all done, okay? All right, well, thanks for watching, everyone. Hope you have a good day. We'll see you again soon. Okay, good girl. Take a bite, everyone. That's a good